Okay, this is my response video on the poverty and gender inequality. Um, so the first video I watched was the Magic Washing Machine by Hans Rosling. Um, and I thought that it was really interesting the chart that he put up of the rich people and how many energy units they use, and then the poorer people and how they don't even use a full energy unit. And it's because the rich people have all these machines. We have the washing machines, the iPads, the laptops, the just general lights. We have all kinds of electricity, and so we use a lot more power units, but we don't do anything to help the people who have to hand wash their clothes every day. Um, I really like the story of his mom getting a washing machine and how the grandma came over, and it was just this huge, great, exciting thing, and how the grandma wanted so badly to be the first one to push the buttons to use it. And how when I do laundry, it's like, okay, you have to go and put in the soap, pick the right settings, start it, wait an hour, go and put it into the dryer, and it's like I feel like it's such a hassle. But then he talks about the people in Africa who spend hours and hours every day washing their clothes, and how I just kind of take it for granted. I put it in the washer and go do homework for an hour, but they can't just throw it out there and wait till it's done. They have to sit there and do it. And I think it's interesting to kind of think about how much more they could get done, and how much more, I don't know, kind of an advanced country they would be if they had the time like we do. If they didn't have to spend their time heating up water to cook their food or wash their clothes or just do the little things that we take for granted every day. Let's see. I also liked how he said population growth and economic growth will change energy use. If we're not growing as a people or economically, then this electricity chart that he showed is going to stay the same, and the poor people are always going to have the fewer units, and the rich people are always going to use more. And I also thought it was really interesting how he pointed out it's important for those that are using more units to use more green units, and how he talked about talking to the people that were hardcore go green, and how most of them said they haven't driven a car in forever. They ride bikes, but every single one of them used a washing machine. Even the most hardcore still use electricity because it's become a necessity in our lives. It's something that we feel like we can't live without, but there are people who live without it every day. And then on to Our Century's Greatest Injustice by Cheryl Dunn. I thought it was really sad how, I just felt like this whole video was sad, but especially how the $13 school fee was too expensive for her family. I feel like I spend $13 on a meal at Red Robin, and that's just one time. But her school fee pays for her entire education for the whole year. And our primary education in the States is paid by taxes, so it's not something that you really think about. You just go and kind of take it for granted. I also thought it was really sad how much inequality there really is, with the whole sex trafficking and not wanting daughters for children. Even within the family, there's so much discrimination. Like she was talking about, in one country, the daughters and sons, when they're breastfeeding, they'll live, about the same, they'll grow about the same. But once it comes to be time for them to eat regular food, the daughters start to die off younger because the mothers show preference towards the sons. They feed the sons more because they feel like the daughters, there's no use for them. Which doesn't make sense to me, because if you don't have daughters to grow up and become wives, how are you going to have grandchildren and progress in generations and population? I also thought it was interesting how she talked about 100 years ago, women trafficking was way less. There was less of it, but they were worth more money, and now there's way more, but they're worth less. Like she said, they're basically indisposable, which is, I find extremely disgusting. But or how she talked about more women were discriminated to death than all the deaths in all the battlefields in the 20th century. It's just so sad because you look at our society today and think of how many great advancements and just great things have come from women. I mean, women are the mothers of future generations. We have had great scientific and medical discoveries from women, and she kind of talks about that when she talks about how if you're not utilizing all of your resources, you're kind of kicking yourself in the butt. It's stupid to have all of these wonderful resources and all of these wonderful smart people who can do so many great things and to not use them. Like when she talked about when Bill Gates was talking to those people and they had men and women divided. I don't know. And she told all of those stories about how these women were in these terrible, terrible situations, but they got themselves out and they did things that helped other women and in general helped their families and other women and their whole village and eventually other people throughout the world. It's interesting to me how people still think that these things can only be done by men and that women have no rights to think like a man or to progress like a man, when men wouldn't have come about without women. I mean, the world would not be here without women. I mean, you have to have the man as well to have a child, but the woman bears the child and raises it most of the time. So it is just interesting how they are kind of thrown under the bus. And I think she made a really good point when she said, you can't change the world by sitting in your comfortable office. If I'm sitting in my room in the United States thinking, oh, this is terrible, something needs to change, nothing's ever going to happen. You have to go out there and see what needs to be changed, and you have to try and do something about it from that.